All right, today we have some problems to help us practice, and you will also be working on your the review in Think Central. So we have lots of review today. So today's math, you do your best. It is going to be a little chunk. We've got 12 problems here to go through. Some will be faster, some will involve some calculating. So here's our first problem. It says Ty buys a sandwich for $4.83. He pays with a $5 bill, which shows the change he would receive. So the first job is we have to figure out how much change Ty gets back. And the second job is we have to figure out which of those sets of coins and bills would give us that amount of change. So we're going to start with the $5. And we have to take away, and again, you can do this by counting up if you want to, whatever way works for you. $5.83. So to do that, we have to ungroup our 4 to our 10, which we take now the dime and move it over to the pennies place. 10 minus 3 is 7, 9 minus 8 is 1, so it's 17 cents. Now I need to figure out which of these makes 17 cents. A nickel plus 2 pennies, that's 5, 6, 7, so nope. A quarter, that's 25 cents, that's too big. That dollar bill is too big, so then it has to be 1 dime is 10, plus a nickel is 5, plus 2 pennies gives us 12. That gives us 17, sorry. The next one, it's a little tricky to see on this thermometer. This is as big as I can make it, but if you notice, the temperature, it goes up by, it's supposed to be 30, 40, 50, 60, and 70. So you are going to tell, and again, it's a little hard to see, we'll call this one A, B, C, and D. So which of those is the correct temperature for that thermometer reading? And you're reading in Fahrenheit, so make sure you're looking on the left side. So if we look, here we are at 40, and we're not quite up here to the 45, so that means it's in between the 40 and the 45, which is 43 degrees Fahrenheit. Our next one, Molly buys a notebook for $1.49. She pays with 2 $1 bills. How much change would she receive? So in the blank, you are going to write down how much change she would receive. So to do that, we are going to start with our 2 $1 bills. So we have $2, and we have to take away the $1.49. All right, again, we have to ungroup some things. So we take our dollar, which is 10 dimes, and we have to take a dime away and move it over, which is 10 pennies. So now I can do 10 minus 9 is 1, 9 minus 4 is 5, and my answer is 51 cents. For my next one, we have 2 parts to this question. What degrees does the thermometer show? And then what temperature will it be 11 degrees higher? So we are starting out with, we have 30, 40, 50, 60, and 70, and we can figure out by looking at the Fahrenheit. We're looking at in Fahrenheit. If I look, it is at 50 and then right at 60. So my answer for that question is 60. Now I need part B. What will the temperature be when it's 11 degrees higher at 6 o'clock? Well, 60 plus 11 is 71 degrees. It says David and his mother paint a wall that is 5 feet long and 9 feet wide. What is the area of that wall? To calculate the area, we need to remember area is base times the height, which in this case is 9 times 5. So the area of this one is 45. And that would be square and feet. Excuse my horrible writing there. Okay, so now we have two answers, two parts to this one. Here's a fence around his garden. We need to find the perimeter and the area. Remember, perimeter is plus, going around the outside edge, and area is the middle. Well, to start with, you're going to want to count how many, and remember, you are counting spaces between the sides. So as an example, this is 1 between the dots is 1 dot, 2 between the dots, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So to help you out, you can see this one is 8. You can count the side and the top and the other side, or however you want to count it to figure it out. But remember, you're counting from 1 dot to the next is 1. Don't count the dots. So if we know one side is 8, then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. This side is 5. So just like our last one, 8 times 5 is 40. And now if I'm trying to calculate, I know that this side is 5 and this side is 8. So 8 plus 8 is 16, 5 plus 5 is 10, 16 plus 10 is 26. All right, now we're getting to something that'll be a little bit faster. So how many of these shapes have at least one pair of perpendicular sides? So you have to think of, remember when we were walking in the hallway at school and we made that nice corner, that was our perpendicular corner. So we need, how many of these 0, 1, 2, 3 of these shapes have at least one set of perpendicular sides? So one set of sides that meet at perpendicular angles. Well, if I look, all I need is 1. So this shape has 1. It's actually got 2 of them. This shape has another one. It actually has 4 of them. And this shape has 1. And it has 4 of them. So the answer to this is all 3 shapes have at least one pair of parallel sides. It says, which sentence describes this figure? So look at that shape and the measurements and try to figure out A, B, C, or D, which one fits the description of that shape. All right, if we look, is this a rectangle but not a square? No, because it has all 4 sides are equal. It's a square but not a rectangle. No, all squares are rectangles. It is not a square or a rectangle. Well, no, it's actually a square and a rectangle, which leaves me with my last one. Remember, all squares are special kind of rectangles that have 4 equal sides. So if it is a square, it has to be a rectangle. This one, we need to name this figure, and we'll notice this is a shape that has 5 inches on one side, 5 inches on the other, and in this case, opposite sides are equal to each other. So if opposite sides are equal, that means this opposite side here is 5, and this opposite side here is 5. We know of 2 shapes that have 4 equal sides. We know of a rhombus and we know of a square. Pentagon is 5 sides. A rectangle is a little different. It has to have square corners. So if I have to figure out between a rhombus and a square, in this case, I know a square has 4 equal sides, but it also has square corners. My shape does not have square corners, which makes it a rhombus. In this one, we get all the figures that have at least one pair of parallel sides. So that means sides that will go on forever and not touch. And we're going to label these for you as A, B, C, D, and E. We're going to select all the possible ones that have at least one pair of parallel sides. In this case, we can look, we've got this one and this one are parallel, so A is good. This one and this one are parallel, and there's others, so B is good. That one and that one are parallel, so C is good. This one's got parallel lines, so D is good. And this one has parallel lines, so E is good. So again, that one is all of them. So for this one, you need to pick the person who is right. Molly thinks the shape is a parallelogram, and Jordan thinks it is a rectangle. Who is correct, Molly or Jordan? In this case, Molly is correct because Jordan says it's a rectangle, but rectangles have to have square corners, and that one does not have square corners. And our last question. Draw a quadrilateral that is a rectangle, but not a square. Since a rectangle has to have square corners, but a square has to have 4 equal sides, I just need to draw myself my shape that does not have equal sides. And that is our review for today.